So, welcome again to the Sleepin It Real podcast. I'm your host, Seth Davis. I'm here today with Corey Feldman. He's a functional medicine practitioner and founder of Trevita Functional Medicine in Colorado. And to our audience, if you're not familiar with functional medicine, we're going to dive deeper into that because it's a very interesting subject. I've been very excited to have Corey as a guest because what he does is very complementary to what I do as a sleep coach. Corey and his team help people to optimize their bodies for better health and better sleep. And I focus more on thoughts and behaviors. So it all works together and it should make for a very enlightening conversation. So Corey, it's great to have you here. And thanks for taking the time to educate us about what you do.
Oh gosh, thanks for having me, Seth. And I love the title of your podcast, Sleepin It Real. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. So Corey, let's start out just with a quick introduction to you and tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah. So by trade, I'm a physician assistant, a PA, and I got my start in family practice, urgent care, ER. So Western, typical Western medicine. And what I found, with at least in my path, was I wasn't really helping people. I was more putting on Band-Aids. I joke I was a glorified drug dealer, basically is what I was. Just putting people on drugs until the next time. So that's not why I got into medicine, but I didn't know anything else existed. You're trained to just know you either work in a clinic or you go to the ER or the urgent care or you become a specialist of some type. That's all. I didn't know functional medicine existed until about 5 years in. And then I found that to be my true calling, functional medicine. Yeah.
And so a lot of people out there are very familiar with kind of the traditional medicine, with general practitioners and things like that, but not many are familiar with functional medicine. So would you like to tell us your definition of what is functional medicine and how does it differ from traditional medicine?
Right. And it's so hard in this world of, traditional, functional, allopathic, naturopathic, homeopathic. There's so many different titles here. So in my opinion, functional medicine is just about finding the root cause of whatever's causing your problem. If you imagine an iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg is your symptoms, not sleeping, pain, diabetes, whatever it is. But there's so much underneath that. There's a lot building up to that symptom point. So my job as a functional medicine provider is to find all those things underneath the symptoms to stop the symptoms. So basically, in my mind, functional medicine is being a medical detective, finding all the problems, literally all the problems leading up to that pinnacle of whatever the symptom is, instead of just trying to mask it with a pill.
Sure. And to really do that and to dig deeper, I know that you have a lot of tests that you can rely on. And so what are some of the things you do to dig deeper and find those root causes?
Right. Well, in my mind, there are five major things that need to be addressed in the human body for there to be optimal wellness. And I always love to talk to other providers and check me if you feel something, if you feel I'm missing something, let me know.
Sure.
But the gut, the gastrointestinal system being a big piece of that. And that's a topic for a whole nother talk of how the gut is connected to sleep and the gut is connected to the brain and the gut is connected to everything. So the gut, and that's also nutrients, right? Making sure you're getting enough nutrients and eating appropriately and making sure you're eating the appropriate food for you. Hormones and hormone balancing. Again, in with sleep, cortisol, progesterone, we can talk a lot about those things. So there's 50 major hormones in the body, so you got to make sure all 50 are balanced. Stress management. And I'm talking emotional stress, I'm talking physical stress, I'm talking chemical stress. We got to find all your stresses and fix them. We got to make sure your body's getting rid of stuff appropriately, detoxifying appropriately. And detox is a term that's gotten thrown around a lot in the world today. And I'm not necessarily talking about juice fasting or sticking a hose up your rear end or anything like that. I'm talking about true detoxification, liver, kidneys, sweat, pooping, peeing appropriately. All these different things are detoxification. And then exercise or mobility or moving your body appropriately. Once these five things are all in alignment, in my experience and in my opinion, is when you have optimal health.
That sounds very reasonable. And that kind of goes along with what I've learned as well.
Right.
So when somebody comes to you and they have a specific complaint, whether it's about sleep or something else, what are some of the first steps that you go through to really dive in and get to the underlying
root cause? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, I kind of use this 5 things as a framework. I'm always kind of checking, do we have all these things in alignment? And that's kind of the framework I always use if we're ever struggling to get someone where they need to go. But some of the first things I do is I utilize a lot of blood work. My blood work, my initial blood work is about 200 tests long, kind of getting a full snapshot of what's going on in your body. And 200 tests is not everything by any means. It's not everything, but it gives me a full snapshot of what's going on: nutrients, hormones, inflammation, liver, kidneys, everything. Kind of gives me a snapshot of what's going on, so I can find your hot spots. What are the true problems? Because I'll tell you, not everything's broken with you. No matter what you got going on, not everything is broken. I promise you, right? But you're going to have major hot spots. So the blood work allows me to kind of get a snapshot of what are some of the hot spots. Is it hormones? Is it nutrients? Is it whatever? And then also something I do initially in a lot of people is a stool test, right? The gut is connected to everything. So you got to check what's going on inside the gut. And testing blood won't allow you to see inside the gut. You shouldn't have blood inside your stool. You shouldn't have blood inside your gut. So if you're just relying on blood tests to see what's happening in your gut, you're going to miss it. So a stool test is really how you see inside the gut. So blood combined with stool allows me to see everything, kind of get this full snapshot of what's going on in the body. And then I can take that information, start working with it, and then go in whatever direction I need to go from there.
Okay. See, this is why when I start working with new clients, I love referring them to people like you, because, just so many of us don't have ideas of what's going on within our bodies. And you do, I think, turn up some surprising things, whether it's related to sleep, whether it's like melatonin, how that's being produced, or magnesium levels, or how people respond to caffeine or cortisol, all those things that can affect sleep. And you're able to really take that magnifying glass and get in there and see all those individual things.
And you can test all that stuff. You can. We live in an amazing time. We can test all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. So when somebody comes in, they tell you that they're having trouble sleeping. Where do you start with that?
Right. Honestly, Seth, the answer truly, no matter what the problem is, sleep in particular, we can talk about that, is honestly, we got to fix everything. It truly is everything. Because, sleep, if you want to look at the tip of the iceberg of sleep, at least in my world, there's usually a hormone imbalance, right? Cortisol, which is, the sleep-wake cycle, the circadian rhythm really based on cortisol. Progesterone is a huge part of sleep. Progesterone is one of your relaxation hormones, where estrogen, testosterone is DHEA. These are rev you up, go hormones, which is good. You need that. But you need that yang to that yin, if you will. You need that relaxation. So progesterone is a huge part of sleep too. Usually it's a hormonal imbalance, melatonin, more of a neurotransmitter, but it's either a neurotransmitter or hormone imbalance that I see most commonly with sleep dysfunction. Like your cortisol's raising at the wrong time and you're waking up at 2 a.m. and don't know why, wide awake, right? Or your progesterone's super low and you just can't either fall asleep or stay asleep. But then you have to say, okay, why? Why is that happening? Right? We know that's the problem, but why? And it then usually goes back to a gut issue. You're not regulating. So hormones are drastically regulated through the gut, the gastrointestinal system, right? So you got to say then it's a gut issue. So we got to fix that. And then gut issues are connected to nutrient imbalances, right? Magnesium being key for, huge for sleep, right? Where's magnesium absorbed? A lot in the gut. Right. So if you're not absorbing it appropriately, you could take all the magnesium you want. It's just not getting where it needs to go. So honestly, if you just focus on, if you just said, okay, the hormones are the problem, let's just focus on your hormones and fix that, it becomes a Band-Aid situation where, I'll give you progesterone and I'll give you all these protocols for lowering cortisol and all this stuff. But again, you're never going to truly fix the problem until you fix the gut, the nutrients, all the other hormones, until you fix your mindset. Right? All these different things. So the answer always, you can name any disease or disorder that you want, honestly, and I'm going to tell you almost the exact same thing. You got to fix the gut, we got to fix the nutrients, we got to fix the hormones, we got to fix mental, emotional, physical, chemical stresses, because it's all the same. And I'm in the process of writing a book myself, and the working title, I don't know, I haven't really come up with the title yet, is Just Fix Everything, because honestly, that's the answer. Whether it's cancer or insomnia, you got to fix everything.
Yeah. Okay. No, I love that. And I love the just the foundational approach, like you said, because so often we do try to put that band-aid on it, or if somebody's having a sleep issue, they say, well, I heard that magnesium helps. I'm just going to go to the drugstore, buy some magnesium, and hey, it's not working. It's not helping me. So getting deeper and asking that extra why, why is so that's good approach.
And that it can sound uber complicated. Like when I say just fix everything, I don't think it's easy by any means. But that's why I exist, is to make it as easy as possible. This is what I do every day. If I were just to tell your random person to just fix everything, where do I start? Where would I even begin with that? So you need a coach, or multiple coaches. Because I don't do what you do. Mm-hmm. You complement what I do very well, because I don't do mental emotional stuff.
Sure.
Right. So I need people like you. So you need a coach behind you, or multiple coaches to help you through this process.
Sure. Completely agree. Mm-hmm. What are some of the most common biological contributors you see? So as far as, things like cortisol and caffeine, what are some of those common things you see that are affecting people's sleep?
Oh, wow. Again, if you want to backtrack, because gut and nutrients and all these other things. So, diet is a huge piece. And I'm not a diet, I call it a diet Nazi. I'm not a diet Nazi. I don't subscribe to any diet. I'm a nutrient. I more care about nutrients. So what do you need to eat to get the nutrients your body needs? So, people don't sleep well because of, diet. Their blood sugar's way out of whack. Cortisol drastically affects blood sugar. So, anything and vice versa. So anything that's drastically spiking your blood sugar, like alcohol or processed sugars or things like that, is going to really affect your sleep. So you got to, watch nutrition for that. And then, bad nutrition screws up the gut, which screws up the hormones, and so on and so forth. Caffeine at the wrong times. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against caffeine. This is coffee here.
Right.
Coffee, right? Caffeine's okay, but everyone processes caffeine differently, and everyone has a different response to it. So, sugar, caffeine, and just overall lack of nutrients, just not having a nutrient-dense diet, right? Because magnesium, is a huge piece of sleep, but then magnesium helps regulate all the other nutrients as well. Magnesium does 400 different things in your body if you really look at it. I mean, there's books written on the subject of magnesium by itself, and that's just one of 100 nutrients. So you can't just focus on magnesium. You got to focus on everything. And then lifestyle, stress is just the biggest part. And I always say, look, you can't get away from stress in our reality. You can't get away from stress. You have to become friends with it, if you will. And again, you're the mental emotional guy here, so I'll let you could speak more more to that. But you almost got to come to peace with whatever stress you have and become friends with it. I love what you say, becoming friends with your lack of sleep and not dreading it. And I love the analogy you use about the kid kicking the chair and all this stuff. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's all about not trying to push it away or stomp it out. It's let's welcome it. Let's have a conversation with it and realize that we can live with it, and eventually the more we can live with it, the more it'll subside.
Right. So and I wish everyone, including myself, we want like concrete answers. Tell me what to do. Just tell me. Take this supplement, or do this thing, or take this. And unfortunately, it's not that simple. We honestly, it comes back to, we got to fix everything. We got to look at everything, and you can't, unfortunately, pick and choose what you want to fix and what you don't want to fix. And it doesn't mean you have to change your lifestyle and become a monk and live a strict diet life. No, it's just, you just got to find out what's right for you and your body, and that's going to look different for everybody.
Sure. Yeah, it's like I tell people sometimes, like for sleep, you could Google 100 top ways to help me sleep. And so, you try all those 100 things, and all of them might not necessarily apply to you. So you just get overwhelmed because there's so many things to do. So you need somebody to help you figure out, these are the 5 things that we should do. Right. Here's how to do them. Here's why to do them. And help you work through them.
And the testing is truly what allows me to do that. Because without the testing, it's guesswork. It's like, hey, try sleep hygiene, try not drinking caffeine after noon, all the basic stuff, use red light instead of blue light and all the stuff, most people, at least watching your podcast, probably already know.
Sure.
It's you need to now take the next step and go deeper into your physiology and figure out, when is your cortisol spiking? Do you have a normal circadian rhythm? What's your progesterone to estrogen ratio? What's your testosterone? What's your magnesium levels? Have you ever tested your magnesium levels? Right. So all these different things that, if you want to take the next step in your sleep evolution, you got to start doing these tests, right? And figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so your office, your practice is, you have different specialists for different areas, I believe. So can you kind of talk about how, as you're focusing on these 5 different components, how your office is set up to help people, focus on those specific things?
Right. So, I have a whole team behind me. There's about 6 of us now. It all started with me back 10 years ago. I used to do everything, but, as I hope as all this grow and change in our life, we improve, and my office has improved so that I don't have to do everything by myself, and neither should you or anyone else. Doing it all by yourself is just a trigger for stress.
Agree.
So I have a whole team behind me now, and what we focus on is, again, getting the base information, right? Blood work, stool testing, right? That's where we start, and then we really figure out what are your problems. And I utilize coaches to help me, what's called project manage. So based on what you tell me, what's going on, your symptoms, right? What's happening? What are you feeling? Symptoms and signs and all these different things. What are you feeling? And then your stool test and blood work and whatever tests we decide to run, we then create a plan, right? Kind of an ABCDEFG plan on how we're going to fix this problem. And that's the easy part. Building a plan is easy. Doing the plan is the hard part. So something I utilize is I work with health coaches, and health coaches, my health coaches in particular are brilliant. I love them. Literally, they make my life so much easier, and they make my business, honestly. But what they truly are is a project manager, right? We have to make sure that all these things get done, and that they're as easy as they possibly can be for you, right? The last thing I want to do for anyone is just add 40 to-dos on their list and just add 40 more stress points to their life, right? So it's my and my coach's goal to make whatever we decide as easy as possible, make it fit into your life as much as possible, and take baby steps, right? You're not going to be perfect right off the bat, right? It's all about progress, not perfection. And that's with sleep and life and in any health journey. It's about progress, not perfection. And it's the health coach's job to make sure that everything is getting done and you're seeing constant progress. Because if you stagnate or if you fall down, then we're missing something, and we've got to make adjustments on the fly. So that's how I utilize a team. Myself, I have other medical providers that I work with. So me and the medical providers and the client, whoever we're talking to, we're building the plans. And then the health coaches are project managing and making sure everything's getting done and making sure you're seeing expeditious improvement.
Okay. That's a good setup. Sounds very effective.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned one interesting thing. So you mentioned that you just had a child recently. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And you kind of discussed how your own sleep is sort of suffering at the moment, just as happens when you have children.
Yeah.
So you kind of mentioned the idea of just kind of accepting that that's where you are at this point in time. And do you want to expand on that a little bit? Because I believe the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have a 7-week-old, and this is our first child, and I'm 40, right? So it's different not sleeping when you're 25, and it's different when you're 40, right? And I feel like I'm a young 40. I feel like I'm still in my prime and everything like that. But it's definitely different. And there's things that I'm working on, optimizing my health and wellness and things like that. But literally, if you're not sleeping, you could take all the supplements and all the things that you want. If you're not sleeping, it's still going to be bad. So I still struggle, but I know this is a season in life. This is just a season, right? This is going to end. She's not going to be 18 years old not sleeping through the night and crying and all this stuff. I know this is going to end, right? You ask people, it may be a year, maybe 6 months, and maybe 3 months. I don't know, depending on other people's journeys, but I know this is going to end. And, thank God I have a beautiful wife who's truly, my soulmate and partner and things like that. And we've created a great schedule where we at least get chunks of sleep, each one of us. So, but that being said, it's just a season. It's just a season. You're gonna get sleep, guys, right? If you're struggling with your sleep journey, it's gonna end. You got to do something about it. Don't just pray and hope it ends. I'm not just praying and hoping my kid sleeps through the night. I have a plan, and we've got stuff set up to make sure, but it's gonna get better. If you just keep working at it day by day, it's gonna get better, and that's what I've kind of come to with this lack of sleep. But don't get me wrong, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard. And I still complain about it, but I know it's going to end soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you expanded on that, because how you're dealing with it is a very healthy way to deal with it. And that's kind of when I'm working with people, it does fall into seeing things as just temporary. So this is temporary, like you said. A lot of it comes into how we react to the sleep problem. So if we are miserable and we're wallowing in it, then that's going to affect our days and our mood and everything else. So we need to practice just kind of acceptance, and we can still do things to make it the best out of the situation. But at a certain point, everything else you can't control. We need to just, accept it and keep moving. So.
Right. And, just perfect example, 2 nights ago, I was having trouble falling asleep, and I said to myself, and since we've met and talked, even our minimal interactions, you've gotten in my head. So I thank you for this.
Good.
Like, I started going down the path of, oh crap, I'm not going to sleep. This is going to be terrible. I got to be up in 5 hours, 6 hours. Oh shit, right? This is going to be bad. And then I stopped that narrative. I'm like, no, it's going to be okay. And even if I don't sleep, I'll be so tired tomorrow that I'll sleep for sure.
Sure.
Right. So I'm really changing my narrative too.
Okay. Your internal voice is leading you in the right direction right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a good way to sum it up, is that, just why we're so complimentary, because that's teaching people to have their internal voice, speak to them in a more positive way and kind of a more realistic way. That's a big part of the battle. So,
I think in this world of social media and quick fixes and all these other things, is we just see perfection. We see good, and we never see bad. And so when we go through a hard time, we feel alone, we feel broken, we feel stupid, we feel whatever, right? And a lot of us are struggling, and no one's perfect, and we're kind of all in the same boat. And be easy on yourself is what I'm trying to say.
Agree. And perfection doesn't exist with sleep either. There's, you might have the perfect night of sleep here and there, but in between, there's going to be a lot of imperfection. We need to be okay with that.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So from your perspective, what are some of the most impactful things you think people can do to prevent sleep issues?
Oh, yeah. Again, I don't want to be a broken record, but fix everything. Again, just make sure that you're addressing everything, seeing a functional medicine provider, looking at your health from a different perspective, getting your nutrients checked. I see a lot of people, and I always ask them the questions, when's the last time you got your nutrients checked? Outside of B12 and vitamin D, never, right? When's the last time you got your hormones checked? Majority of people, never, right? So, if your doctor is telling you you're fine and you don't feel fine, go get another doctor. That's all I can tell. That's all I can say. Or you got to dig deeper. Because again, sleep is connected to everything, and sleep affects everything. So you got to break this cycle somewhere, right? You got to get sleep. We got to get you to sleep. And it's generally a problem down the line that's causing you not to sleep. So, get your gut tested, get hormones tested, get nutrients tested. And again, I do a program where I kind of do all of this for you. You can absolutely, though, do it piecemeal, right? You can get this checked and this checked and this checked. I do it in where I'll get it done for you in like 4 to 6 months. We'll get everything done and get it all rocked and rolled. But you can go through a medical provider that can get all this stuff checked. So that would be definitely some things that I'd recommend for sleep. Cortisol, getting your cortisol checked. And not just once, but multiple times throughout the day, or a 24-hour urine or something. Make sure your adrenal glands are functioning appropriately. Make sure your thyroid's working appropriately. I mean, there's so many things that affect sleep that we need to just make sure we're not missing. And and again, never forgetting that mental emotional piece to sleep, right? I focus on the physiological and the chemical. Seth focuses on the mental emotional side of it. And then I always say, like, just because I don't focus on mental emotional doesn't mean it's not one of the most, if not the most important thing. So all I can say in a nutshell is, if you want to sleep better, make sure everything else in your life is working better to the best that you can. Don't think that I'm saying like we need to fix this right now, but just start taking steps. Just start seeing some progress. And I guarantee you, when you start seeing progress, it's going to lower that stress level and help you be able to relax more to get that sleep.
Sure. Baby steps.
Baby.
It's so, as you were talking, it kind of reminded me. So I'm one of those people who's guilty. I haven't, done the hormone testing or the nutrient testing. I need to do that. But there's just so many of us walking around who don't know what is happening in our bodies and what's going right, what's going wrong. And but I was thinking that we do, we'll take our cars in to get checked every 6 months. They'll look under the hood and give us those reports and things, but we don't do that for our own bodies. So it seems like that's a little bit backwards. I need to take care of that part too.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of us, I mean, and this is just training from years and years of the medical system. We're trained that, well, when you're sick, you go to the doctor, right? Wait until you get sick. Wait until you can't sleep. Wait until you're overstressed. Wait until you have the chest pain. Then go see the doctor. Where I'm trying to reverse that narrative, like, no, go see the doctor when you're healthy or seemingly. Check under the hood and make sure you're on the trajectory to stay healthy and not, I mean, look, just I know this is a sleep discussion, but heart attacks, right? Heart attacks don't come out of nowhere. They're 30 years in the making. You can see a heart attack coming at least 10 years before it happens. It's just nobody looks until they're grabbing their chest, right?
Sure.
Same thing is true with sleep. Same thing is true with hormone imbalance, gut imbalance. You can see this stuff coming before it happens. And the biggest thing, and again, I hope I don't get too off track with this conversation, is the finances of it all. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what we're taught. And we live in a time now where money's tight and recessions and things like that. And we don't want to spend money unnecessarily. But I'm going to tell you that if you wait until it's broken, you're going to spend a whole lot more money trying to fix it than you are if you catch it early and fix it now. So it's just a matter of investment and investing in yourself.
I was about to say, it sounds like more, if we can swing it around to investment as a way to look at it. Actually, my company's slogan is "Invest in the rest of your life." So it's
oh man, I gotta hire you as a marketing person. You got great slogans.
Hey, I'll come on your team. But so I think that money is definitely even when it comes to sleep coaching, some people have objections, and it's like, well, do you want to just keep doing what you've been doing and experiencing the same problems, or can we fix this so you can enjoy what comes afterward?
Right.
But with you, it's more invest so we can prevent you from having to deal with worse things later on.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, and I don't want you to just have to wait until you're literally falling apart to get it done. Makes my life a whole lot harder too. So if not for yourself, do it for us. Make our lives easier too.
Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, so how can people work with you? Do you work with people outside of Colorado?
I do. Yeah. I see people remotely. I've worked with, I just got done working with a guy in Chicago. I'm based in Colorado, Centennial, Colorado. But, I've worked with people in Florida, California. I even worked with a guy in Israel, right? So yes, I do see people, in my line of work, I don't need to touch people, of course I love seeing people, and yes, I'll do a physical exam if I feel it's prudent, but I can do everything via Zoom, and as long as I can get your blood tested and the stool test is FedExed and all these other things. So we live in a world now, especially post-COVID, we've really learned that we can get a lot done. Prior to COVID, I'm like, no, I have to see people. I have to. There's no way I could honestly fix someone unless I touch them.
Sure.
Which, again, it's just not true. We learned that through COVID, that I can, I get great success even from a distance.
Okay. And so your website, and how can people get a hold of you and schedule appointments and things like that?
Yeah. So my website is trivitafunctionalmedicine.com. And at the top of the website, you can book a discovery call. And so what you do is you just click that button, it goes to a calendar, and you just pick a time that works for you. And we have a 15 to 30 minute free discovery call. And on that call, it's just about getting to know you, getting to know, what's going on. And honestly, talking a little bit of how we would go about fixing this problem. Again, we've been doing this now, my company has been around for 10 years and, I've been in medicine for 15. So, we've seen a lot of things and we've had a lot of success with a lot of different people. And, we've probably seen your issue multiple times, and we can tell you, here's the success and here's what we've done for other people in the past. Now, of course, you're different and everyone's different. So we'll look at you as an individual, but here's kind of what I'm thinking we'd start with. Does that sound right for you? Does that sound like the path you want to go down? And if yes, then we get you booked for an hour to an hour and a half visit where, we actually really come in, really dig into your health history and really start building a plan. Whether we work together or not, I want you leaving here, with action items. Here's at least five things that I would have you do to take the next steps, either with me or with somebody else, right? I want to make sure that you have action steps. So go to our website, book a discovery call. If it sounds good, then we'll sit down for an hour, hour and a half. And then if you want to work with us, then we'll talk about how we do that.
Okay, cool. I encourage everybody to do that, just because it's just finding out more about what's going on with you, particularly, so you can fix any issues that might be bothering you, or just prevent, like we talked about.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, so thank you so much, Corey, for coming on here. I think I learned a lot myself about functional medicine. I need to get in there myself and get a examination just to see what's going on with me. But hopefully, everybody found this useful, and it kind of explains why we need to look more closely at our body for sleep and for the rest of our health, just to make sure that we're functioning well and being our best selves. So thanks again for joining us today.
Oh gosh. Thank you so much for having me, Seth. And I think you're doing great work. So keep it up.
Thank you. Likewise.